Today we're talking about if it's too late to repot, is it too hot to repot? And it's a question I get asked, or is it too late to plant? Is it too late to, whatever. The thing is that a lot of the trees that come from nurseries or box stores, they're ready to come out of their pots. And it's one of the first things you want to do when you get a tree is take it out of its pot to see what was going on with the root system. And once you get an idea of what was going on with the root system, you can then decide, okay, is it going to be better to repot this before fall and winter, before it tries to store energy for next season? Because that could potentially be what kills the tree, is not having it out of its pot. If the pot is the issue, what's leading to leaves like this that are looking scorched and burnt. And these are young little trees, but there is an issue with the potting soil. And a lot of the reason why the younger trees leaves burn is because they're more recently grafted. Their grafting section is not even healing over hardly because it can't send energy to the sections where it needs to. So I'm going to show you the steps that I take. This is one that I brought home and transplanted about a month ago, and you can see how much the grafting section is callousing over on this one because it's actually breathing and sending energy up, compared to this one is like just dry and at a standstill. But it also hasn't grown any new leaves. It's not doing any bud break, but it is showing signs of little tiny buds. So I'm gonna get this bamboo stick out of here, and don't mind the dog, she's just running around chasing bugs. If you can hear her collar, it's pretty fun to watch. She's a bug catcher for sure. So get this bamboo stick out of here. So with this one, we're just gonna set it to the side because it's for now. I'll show you the next step that I'll do with it now that it's starting to show signs of little bud breaks down here and up through the canopy. I'm gonna show you the next step I would take with this tree to start helping develop a nice strong root system and establishing where it should store energy for this next upcoming month or two, because we're going into August now, and when we get into August, the Japanese maple trees will pretty much go into their second growth state. So all this stuff right here is like, stuff that if you wanted to put an S in a tree, now would be the time to do it, because look how soft and loose this wood is. You could wire it and put a nice S in it, do some bending, put some curves or whatever. But I'm actually gonna cut it down to promote a thicker trunk. So that's what I'll be doing after I get this one out of the pot and we look at what's going on here in these the root system. So as you can see in here, there's so much osmocote, and the more you pull the soil away, the more you'll see. And I don't know if they're using like recycled soil and then adding more osmocote to it or what, but whatever's going on here is an issue. And oh my gosh, like look at this. So this is our problem, and it's more of an issue than actually repotting in the middle of summer. I wouldn't be repotting a tree that didn't necessarily need it. Like if it's not showing signs of canopy stress, I wouldn't be coming in here and repotting it, but I really need to get it out of the soil. Otherwise what's going to happen is it's going to kill the tree, because the new roots that the tree's trying to grow are just getting absolutely cooked by the osmocote that's in here. And it's not that osmocote's bad, it's just that whoever is repotting these trees isn't following instructions. I mean, this is enough osmocote for a 15-gallon pot, and we have a fresh little tree right here that's just absolutely dying. And I'm glad that they put a discount on it and I got it for a good price, but other than that, we're putting this baby in some fresh soil. So we've got ourselves some fresh soil right here, and I'm going to go ahead and put it back into the 1 gallon pot because, as you can see, it hasn't even had a chance to really grow many roots, and a lot of the roots that are in here are just dying because of the stress from too much fertilization. So put it in some fresh soil here in this pot, and I like adding big lava rock. Took me a second to think of that, but I like adding big lava rock to my pots because it helps create oxygen pockets, and oxygen in your trees is a really important thing for making sure that their roots don't sit in too soggy of soil or too much soil that's going to be stopping them from breathing. So you'll see me have lava rock in almost all my potting soils. Make sure you go around the edges, compress that soil in there real good, and check the tree, make sure it's not loose. I'm not worried about the tree being right in the center of the pot. Some people are worried about that, but as long as the root flare is exposed and it's in nice breathable soil, the next step that we're going to do is water it in. I'm just going to water it in here real quick. Let it drain a couple times. My potting soil is a little bit dry, so it might take a second to hydrate. So I don't want to just water it once and then call it good. So come in here and water it again. And once the soil is properly hydrated, it starts to drain a lot faster, the way that it should be. So let's get this thing watered in and I'll show you guys what I'll do next. So now I've got the tree we just repotted, and then we've got the tree that was repotted about a month ago. And the reason I didn't trim this one a month ago when I first repotted it is because I didn't see any bud breaking. And you can't really force bud breaking when it's not the time for the buds to break. Well, you can, but the growth will be a lot more brittle and more likely to get like wind damage and leaf scorch because it's not the right time to grow buds. The tree doesn't have the energy it needs to grow buds. The 2 times a year you usually see buds break is going to be the beginning of spring, coming into spring, because the trees are about to grow their leaves coming out of winter, out of their dormancy. And then another time of year you will see the trees bud break is going to be halfway through summer. So usually over here in the Pacific Northwest, Zone 8B, it will be about late July coming into August. You'll start to see fresh buds where you're going to get a second push of growth coming into fall. It's a good time to actually come in and address some of the issues with the trees. And with this tree being the tree that was the one we just repotted today, I see buds breaking on it. You can see, looking right here, I'll put my hand behind it so you can actually see there's buds breaking all the way down the stem. So I'm going to come in here to this tree and go ahead and cut it right there. Fresh cut. And then what I'm going to do is take off these 2 leaves that are damaged. And what we're left with is the graft section is down here. It was chisel graft. Then this whole 6-inch section or whatever is going to be about what is left. And although there's buds breaking above that, now what's going to happen, because the tree has the energy to bud break, all the little buds are going to start callousing out down here. So that's kind of what we want to promote on these little trees that had a damaged leaf canopy all the way through the season. And even if it's a bigger tree with a damaged leaf canopy, sometimes coming in and trimming off those leaves, or just coming in and peeling leaves off. If you don't want to do any trimming, you can just peel leaves off by taking them and pulling them back away from the buds, but I don't really like doing that just because I like having thicker stems and I like having more controlled growth down lower. I don't like when my trees get real wiry and spindly unless I'm going to come in here and do something like wire it, put an S in it, but that's always something we could do later once the trunk gets thicker. And really, leaf pruning is fine, like I say, like if you came in here and just pulled all the leaves off all the way to the tips. Since it's in a state where we're getting bud break down here, it's gonna end up growing new leaves and then new branches. So with this one being the one I just trimmed and it being the one we just fixed today, look at the graft section right here where it's barely healing. Look at this cut right up here that's barely healing, and these are both the same age trees from the same exact place, and the only difference is this one hasn't been repotted in the last month and this one has. So the difference you're going to see here is the callousing right here above the graft is a lot more healed over, it's lighter green. You can see that there's nutrients and juices flowing because the potting soil was fixed. And up here, that same cut is almost fully healed over. So those are little indications to look for. And although, you know, we have some new healthy growth up top that's not burning, I'm going to go ahead and come in here and cut this one about here, about there, about there, and I'll take this little guy off. So we're going to be left with a fork, and this will start sending branches like that. And you know, I may actually come in here and cut below this cut that's actually trying to heal, and what I'm going to do is just cut right below it. And then that's going to force buds to grow all along the stem down here above the chisel graft, and then that's going to actually send more energy down here to help heal these wounds that we want healed before we have a nice healthy canopy. So it's like, oh no, you killed the tree, but what was going to kill the tree was leaving those things in this terrible potting soil I took them out of. They were both in the same potting soil. And just kind of hoping that they would recover would be what would kill them. So these are the steps I take during midsummer, and I'll go over a couple different things that, like, steps I would take to make sure that they recover nice and healthy over the next month coming into September. So let me go over those few things real quick, and we'll be getting near the end of the video. And the next tree that I will be repotting in this series is going to be my full moon maple that hasn't been repotted for at least 5 years, and it's completely root bound. I'm having to water it about twice a day, and it's still getting leaf scorch. So I'll show you what we do to fix that one in the next video. So I think a couple important things for me to talk about real quick before the video ends is you don't want to be doing any major root pruning this time of year. Like if your tree is very root bound, just try to untangle the roots as good as you can without harming any roots or destroying roots or cutting roots. So, and the main reason is because that it's still really hot, and if we do it during the summertime while it's very hot, it's going to end up causing not just leaf burn but root burn as those new roots are trying to develop into the season. So it's important that if you're doing any major root pruning or you have to reduce the size of a root ball, you try to do that in the beginning of spring when you first start seeing buds to break. Or if you're repotting trees that need to be down potted, or you're putting them back into the same ceramic pot, you want to make sure you're doing it in like January, February. That's at least when I've had the best results. An emergency repotting really only needs to be done if you're seeing a tree that needs to be watered multiple times in a day because it's just not staying wet, or because it's too root bound, or the soil's staying too wet because it's the wrong kind of soil for the trees. And I won't be fertilizing any trees that are freshly repotted, no matter what time of year it is, for at least 3 or 4 weeks after the repotting. I'm going to be making sure that we put them in shade, so it's going to need a nice shady area. So And when I'm saying shade, I'm saying like no more than 1 hour of gentle morning sun, and then the rest like barely filtered sunlight and really good shade, because that's going to be what makes or breaks this tree's ability to put out a new flush of growth and then keep it from getting heat scorch or wind scorch. And then by fall, you'll actually have a nice healthy canopy again. Not obviously the biggest, healthiest canopy, but it'll be better than what you had. And that's the main point and why I would be doing emergency repotting. So thanks for watching. Make sure to leave some comments and let me know what you guys think. And I really appreciate you guys all for watching and tuning in. Let me know what you guys are learning or what you want to learn, and maybe I'll be able to share some more tips and information with you guys. Another little trick is like if you smell the soil and it smells stinky, like putrid, that's another thing too. Like if you pull your tree out of the pot and it smells rancid, very nasty, just get that tree out of that soil, repot it, put it in some nice fresh soil that's going to be draining good. And what I would do is not use cinnamon sugar, but cinnamon powder. You're going to use like the cinnamon spice, because the cinnamon spice is not just a little bit of a mineral that has trace nutrients in it that would help feed the roots as they're trying to become established and get rid of that toxic, anaerobic soil. It also acts, the cinnamon, as a antifungal and antibacterial. So it could have a chance that I've used it in the past on, perennials or annuals or whatever, and they had root rot when I got them, and after the course of a month of repotting them, putting them in fresh soil, and using some cinnamon spice, it got rid of the root rot. So that's something I've used. It's a little quick tip and trick, and like I say, thanks for watching.